Hello, my name is Russell Myers. Welcome to Issues Unite. This is my third or fourth attempt at making this video. I had a technical issue that was cropping up. I think my new video card may have been overheating. Right now I got the cover pulled off. Let's see if that helps a little bit. And then the last time I hit the wrong button and I just stopped the recording and, never mind. All right, riots. Riots have started. The most obvious is the one in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And before I go into this, I'm not downplaying the racial issue of this. The victim was black. The officer that murdered the victim was white. And there are 4 officers involved. The riots, okay, and this is not based on any violent action on the part of the victim. The alleged offense was that he passed a counterfeit $20 bill. Well, this raises a lot of questions. I mean, did the victim know that it was a counterfeit $20 bill? Does the officer even know that it was a counterfeit $20 bill? Because we have to question, well, how did the officer find out that this man had passed an allegedly counterfeit $20 bill and have time to go chase him down? Is the officer an authority, an expert on identifying counterfeit bills? That's highly doubtful. So chances are some cashier told the officer chased him down, and the events happen where he takes this man down to the ground and keeps his knee on the man's neck until he died on camera with dozens of witnesses in public. We know that victims of police abuse are primarily minorities. Look at all the mass shooters and so forth that have been white, and they're peacefully handcuffed and led away, and compared to this, compared to a man selling loose cigarettes, being killed, a 12-year-old boy playing with a toy gun in a public park. We know this. We know that, people of color are more likely to be charged and imprisoned for the exact same charges that a white person would get, probation or no charges at all against them. But ultimately, that's not the point that I'm making. JFK said, if those that make peaceful revolution impossible make violent revolution inevitable. Riots don't just happen because of one single event. That one single event acts as a trigger. The fuse was lit long ago. I don't know what the economic, social, etc. conditions are like in Minneapolis or Minnesota. From what I understand, not all that great, but that's not so much what I'm focusing on either. There are riots going on in other cities, in California, based on the same events. Do I approve of destruction of private and public property? No. I'm made it clear on many occasions that I'm in favor of peaceful actions, but when those peaceful actions have been going on for years and there have been no results or conditions only worsen, then you can expect at some point things are going to blow up. Destroying local businesses and private property, that's not doing any good. You're making your fellow citizens, who are also victims already, pay the price for this. They're the ones you're hurting. At least, even if you're going to riot, at least keep your actions focused on the source of the anger. I do understand that some people took over a police substation there. Okay, that's at least keeping your efforts focused. There's another thing that is involved here, which somebody pointed out to me, and that is that apparently the police officer and the victim both worked as security at a nightclub up until a few months ago, the same nightclub. There's no proof that they knew each other because the police officer worked outside and the victim worked inside. But that's something else to be looked into. Whether there was any predisposing conditions. But still, I'm absolutely convinced that if the victim were white, he'd still be alive. So, but getting on to this, I expect to see a lot more riots starting to happen. People are expecting that, things are going to get back to normal at some point in the foreseeable future, and that's not going to happen. Oh, and what has been the response to this? Has this riot could have been prevented if the DA had filed charges against these officers, if they had been arrested, even if they were not actively behind bars, if they had at least been charged with a crime, I don't think that the riots would be happening. Ideally, they should be in jail, not just fired from their jobs. But now they're talking about calling out the National Guard, but they still haven't filed charges against these officers. Try filing the charges against the officers and see what happens to the riots. If they dissipate, okay. But there's a lot more going on here. Our whole society is on edge. People are afraid of contracting a virus that can kill them or family members, loved ones. Others are afraid that they're just being lied to in spite of the evidence that says otherwise. Yes, I think the virus numbers are being inflated, but not by much. We have no idea without generalized testing. We are increasing our tensions with other countries. Are we going to be going to war with China, Russia, Venezuela, Iran, North Korea, what have you? The economy, it sucks. The economy sucks. This didn't start with the pandemic. Last year saw more retail closures than any year in American history. Dozens of trucking companies went out of business last year. And the bankruptcies and closures were continuing into this year before the pandemic came along. And I've pointed out before, many retailers are just waiting for restrictions to be lifted, and then they plan on filing bankruptcy and liquidating their assets, selling off what assets they can. Well, that's 25% of restaurants and entertainment venues plan on not reopening. So we're talking hundreds of thousands to millions of jobs that are not going to be coming back. The supply chain is still disrupted. Even the businesses that are still open or plan on reopening have a limited ability to circulate in new stock, as they sell out stock that has been in warehouses or what have you, or what is available. They're not going to have the same ability to stock the products, and what products they can put in stock are going to cost more. We already saw that the cost of groceries and living conditions in April rose considerably. Meanwhile, we're still bailing out the rich while people are waiting in lines for food banks. The media is not helping. All the media does, the corporate media, is just keep on fear-mongering. Their entire job is to get you to react emotionally, especially with negative emotions. That's what they try to do. That's what they've been doing for decades. This has been going on at least since the 1970s, probably earlier. You look up an old movie called Broadcast, I think, and there were indications of it then. It was a point. That movie had a point. And, there's the old saying in corporate media, if it bleeds, it leads. Well, that doesn't mean necessarily bloodshed, but it means whatever gets an emotional reaction, whatever gets you to watch their broadcast because it gets an emotional reaction from you. And people are addicted to that emotional reaction. They don't want to be informed. They want the emotional reaction. That's all they want. They want to be angry and depressed and offended and hate, direct their hate at whoever is different, the other. They don't want to unify to fix the problems. They don't want to give up some small amount of what they've got so that it fixes everything across the board for our society. No, everything's all someone else's fault, and the media tells nothing but the truth. Sure. We're going to be seeing more and more riots. With all of these tensions happening, we get these promises that things are going to return to normal, and that's not going to happen at all. As people realize this, as in the next few weeks to months, more people are evicted from their homes, find out that the jobs that they return to are going to no longer exist, then, it's only a matter of time. People are hungry, they are desperate, they are scared, and we're going to see more riots. Our government could prevent this, but they will not do so because they're still going to be working for the benefit of the rich, the 0.1% or 0.01%. They're going to bail out the stock market and the banks, and people are more aware of this. They're going to call in more of the National Guard to control the populace. They're going to suspend, human rights. They're going to enable more censorship. This only leads one direction. If you're afraid of fascism, get this. We've been living under fascism for years. The militarization of the police, increasing police abuse. No. This is predictable. This has been predictable for years. It didn't start in 2017. It didn't start with the pandemic. We've been leading up to this. All right? All these prejudices between, races and genders and sexual identities and religions and all that stuff within this country. No. I mean, we're all Americans. And we are all human beings. All this fighting amongst each other is not helping. So, before our system changes for the better, a lot of our system is going to have to collapse, and there's no other way for it to happen. It's starting to look like. I knew that to change the economy, that capitalism would have to basically collapse, but it's more than that, it looks like. Even more has to collapse. The justice system, and more. I'm not happy with it, but until enough happens to awaken our elected officials and unelected agencies to start changing things, then yes, I expect to see an ever increasing number of riots, uprisings, insurgencies. Yeah, this is where we've been headed. So, where you can, try and keep your actions peaceful, but I'm not seeing much hope for it now, because nobody that should be paying attention is paying attention. So, I don't know. We're going to have to see what happens from here. And one thing you can absolutely do is turn off corporate news. Stop letting them make money off of this. All right? Share this video. Talk about these subjects. If you can, please donate $1 a month to help me expand the channel. And I hope you have a good day.